So let us begin. This is going to be short, sweet, slow, and to the point. And this is all about personal branding, leveraging personal branding to grow your business. And what I'm going to do is, because we have a short amount of time, and I want Jess to really have the bulk of the time here, I know he's going to present a lot of great information. I want to keep it short and sweet and stick to really the salient points of personal branding. Personal branding, for me, is all about how can I stand out? How can I make a difference? How can I be different in a very noisy marketplace? And we talked about that a bit. In fact, the panel before that talked about that quite a bit. How can I be different? How can I pop? How can I sizzle? How can I be weird? How can I be memorable? Oftentimes, I think as business owners, all of us are the same to a degree. I speak, she speaks, he speaks. Who cares? One video camera, one camera, they're all the same. And I would dare say, how can we be different? So I'm going to move forward for this. Again, I wasn't exactly sure who I'd be in front of, so many of you have seen this, I think, 6 times now, Perrine? Or at least, maybe. So, so let's dive in. Let's dive into the meat of our discussion. So why personal branding? Why is personal branding so important? And this is not talking about corporate branding or what we can do with our architecture firm or whatever. It's really we as individuals, as people, how can we stand out? How can we be different? So there's a few things that we need to keep in mind when we're speaking about personal branding and how it can benefit us. And I think the best idea of that is when you think of a ride sharing service, a car sharing service, what comes to your mind?
A taxi or Uber.
No, not a taxi or Uber. Just let's try that again. So we're going to edit all this out. When you think of a taxi sharing service, what comes to your mind?
Uber.
Uber, of course, yes. There we go. But you get the point. If any of you have traveled to a foreign country, a country that's not your mother country, anybody else been out of? Okay, good. So when you travel there and you're looking for a pair of sneakers and you see the swoosh and 100 other brands, what sneaker are you most likely going to get? Nike and Starbucks and et cetera. So personal branding is how we as individuals can be rock stars, can be awesome in our individual best practices and communities. And this is what I have a lot of problems. But 2 things that I've done very well is marketing and personal branding. So that's what I want to touch on a bit today. So what is personal branding? Personal branding is about sustained fame. It's not kind of a one-trick pony, kind of like the, 500 Republican candidates, I think, are running for office. And now there's like one. So it's sustained fame and celebrity status. This doesn't mean like Jay-Z or whatever, but this is celebrity status in our own rights. Obviously, Robin has that in her community. And I think this is what personal branding is about. Are you known in your community, however you define that, as being a rock star? In your local market. So this could be geographically, you're known in Austin, Texas as the best XYZ. Or you're known in the speaking industry as the best XYZ. So this is how I would define what personal branding is about. Sustained fame, it's celebrity status in your local market, geographically speaking, or in your profession. So 3 principles of personal branding that I think are very important for all of us to consider and think about. One is the aspect of fans or tribe building. People who excel at personal branding are not first thinking of money first and foremost. It's about building a community of people who are rabidly fans of you. Yesterday, I testified before Congress, or Wednesday, I testified before Congress. The video I put up has like a gazillion page views. And that's part because it was Congress, but part because I have a community of people, basically Jess, I mean, that's it, who, no, a community of fans. Oh, these 2 more people, huh? So fans, that's one concept, build a fan base. And again, time is short, so I'm gonna go through this at a high level, but in another session, maybe we can do this longer. The second aspect after building a fan base, a community, is perception. Those of us who speak and et cetera, we understand this. This is about as you're doing things in video, as you're on a Twitter chat. So in my case, again, in this full presentation, I share a little bit more about my story, and I've done that here in this conference, as some of you know it. But why do I jump at the chance to interview President Obama? Why did I give the congressional hearing? Why do I want to be in the media, which I think Jess will touch on in a bit? Why? Because it builds the perception index. And as you're building up your perception, when it's me and the young lady here, we're competing for each other, all things being equal, they're going to hire the person with the higher perception index because people don't want to make mistakes. They want to go with someone they're safe, just like when you get the Nike shoe when you don't know what else to buy. And the third thing is no frills versus frills. This is the most important concept of personal branding. Most of us business owners are pretty much all common the same type of people. We're pretty much plain, vanilla, beige, boring, humdrum people. Once in a while, you come across somebody that pops. That's different. And you know it. You smell it a mile away. So this is the thing to consider. Most of us are plain vanilla sliced pineapples. How many of you grew up and you would go to the store and you would look for the Pop-Tarts that were like branded Kellogg's, but then your mother said, no, we can't afford that. You need to get the black and white Pop-Tarts. Anybody know them toasty? Or you know what I'm talking about? Some of you were born very rich, like probably, I don't know, Robin or this guy here with the cool glasses, very wealthy. But some of us, we were born, I wasn't poor, but middle class, you had to save. You know what I mean? So most of us like this. How many want this crap? Nobody wants it. But yet we portray in businesses that we're plain pineapples. Hi, what do you do? Oh, we're accountant, Lazard & Sons. We can help do your taxes. It's almost April 15th. Okay. Nobody wants that. Oh, what do you do? Oh, we're a law firm. We help. It's boring. But how many want that? That's the real stuff. Dole pineapples. And this is what personal branding is about. Changing us from this, which every business can do. You get your business cards from Vistaprint, build your website on GoDaddy, Wix, Squarespace, some stupid platform, put up your Google alerts, and we go along happy getting a little bit of word of mouth, humdrum stuff. But I think we've talked about today, I'm actually glad I'm after the Robin panel, what you're teaching your clients, what I know Jess is going to talk about, with his panel, is that how can we rise above the noise? So a few things that I've seen help with personal branding, and then I'm going to come to an end. I do want to give plenty of time for my friend Jess to do this. So 4 traits for personal branding. 1, and I'm going to do this in 2 phases, is being happy. It sounds weird. Ramon, really? Okay, yeah, I'm going to walk out of the room, and you can if you want. But being happy is important. I talk to many people because they see kind of the success that God has blessed me with, and they say, well, we want to build our personal brand too. How can we get on Fox? How can we get on CNN? How can we invite it to Congress? If you look at the testimony, it was funny what all the representatives said. You all make us excited about small business because you seem excited about what you do. Listen to every other hearing. It's full of boring old people talking nonsense. So being happy is 1. Point 2 is being excited. When I wake up in the morning, man, I just love life and I love what I do. Love what I do. So being excited is important. And again, for a longer when I go more of these in depth. The next thing is being patient. Building a personal brand does not happen overnight. Doesn't happen overnight. I've worked on this for, 20 years. I built my first website in April 1999. And Walt Mossberg of the Wall Street Journal said it was so ugly, he would never, ever review my website. I'll never forget that. He faxed me. So be patient. It takes time. It takes time. And the next thing is focus. Now, I have a problem with being focused, or as Jess helped me understand, Ramon, you may not be unfocused. You might just be overstretched. So thank you for that. But focus is important. A lot of people want to do 100 different things instead of focusing and staying, as it were, in that lane until they're successful there, then they can move on. So I would encourage, as we're trying to build our brands, I see some people say, well, I'm a personal development specialist. I sell real estate on the side, and I'm dabbling into Amway. And by the way, would you like to be my legal, not legal Zoom, what's it, legal, so Legal Shield, would you like to be my Legal Shield rep? Really? So being focused. So focus is important, I think, for a few things, but really, good brands have deep focus, and your community, your tribe, wants to put you in a box. They want to put you in a box because it comforts people. Nike, sports, or whatever it is. Starbucks, coffee. They have other things, but focus, okay? So I want to move on to some other things that I think are real important. This is kind of the second stage. I didn't know I had these things to do here. But now I want to move to the personal branding toolbox, and then we'll be done in a few minutes. And I hope this little nugget of information has been a good tea and set up for the part about media and publicity. So, personal branding toolbox. One, I'm a firm believer that everybody who wants to build their personal brand should own their name, domain name, RamonRay.com or something like that, because this is going to be one of the bedrocks to how the public will know who you are. Remember, people don't have time to shake your hand. They're not going to be at an event like this and see you. They're going to search you online. This is going to pop up, and they'll make a quick decision. Do I want to work with you or not? This you have to understand. So a personal website, not your corporate site with the proverbial, the three white guys and the one black guy around the table smiling, shaking hands. Not that one. You want your personal website, okay, that showcases who you are. Next one that's very important is content. Why is content so important? As I said in earlier sessions, I'm a firm believer all small businesses really must be publishers. And it's also very important to build a tribe and build a community. This is important. Tribe building is important. Social engagement, I've already talked about that earlier today. If you weren't there, that's really just too bad. But social engagement is important, and I won't belabor that point too long because I want to move on here and give you these nuggets. So, another thing that I found, email marketing, it's not dead. I found that in my email newsletter that I send once a week is still a very powerful force to build my tribe, build my community. Yes, I can tweet, I can do this, that, or the other, but a solid email list is very important. And again, in other sessions, I'm sure we can talk about building an email list, but these are tidbits to help you as you're considering building your personal brand. We've talked about video. I'm not sure how many were in the last session I did. Okay, good. So this is a relatively new audience. So video is important. Remember, personal branding is about you as individuals. Video brings your personal brand up close and personal to people. Okay? So, moving on here. Quality images and pictures. Now listen, if you're butt ugly like I am, you can't help that. That's just how you are. But you can still make sure that your image looks half decent. Anybody seen images of people who said, I'm a professional, but the picture looks crappy? Anybody seen that? Yeah. And you were like turned off, weren't you? You almost threw up. I can see it in your voice. The point being, have good quality images and pictures and video. This is important. You want to put your best foot forward. So moving on, as we come towards an end here, 4 power tools that can help you in your business. And again, the purpose of what I'm doing today is to give you nuggets, give you a taste, a few tips that can help you grow your personal brand. So 4 power tools. 1, I think that everybody who wants to build their personal brand should write a book. If you want to start with a simple ebook, that's okay. If you want to get it published by a professional publisher or write it yourself, I don't care. But you should be a published author. It helps you. Again, it's me and this young lady side by side. All things being equal, except for our hair, she has a book published. I don't. Most likely she's going to win. So keep that in mind. Okay? Publish a book. Another thing is produce an event. Producing events. Ramon does it. Many of you referenced it. Producing an event makes you the top dog, legit, all the way in your industry. You can do a small event like a meetup group, big event. I care which one it is, but for right now, we'll just move on. But when I did my first event, my first big event in 2006, called the Small Business Summit, we had 300 people attend. Today I get 500 people. MSNBC came. I had not the mayor of New York, but the lady under the mayor, whatever that's called, chairwoman, person, something. But my point is, produce an event. It puts you at a different prominence when you do an event. Third thing is media exposure. This is important. When you want to separate the little boys from the big boys, the little girls from the big girls, media exposure does that. This is how we're trained. Even if you suck, having a good media clip will help. When it comes time to raise those prices we talked about, then it's going to do that. And I'm going to see you, Robin, because I want to raise my prices dramatically. So media exposure, very, very important when you want to build your personal brand. Why? Remember I talked about perception. Perception. So again, there's a whole thing you can do, and Jess will touch on that and get help with that. He can help you with that up the wazoo. Another thing is creating your own show. I've done this pretty successfully. This is one example. I bought the domain 3techguys.com, and I did this a few years ago. I can't remember, a few years ago, and I found 2 of the most shaved head guys that I could talk to. Every Monday, you can see it there, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We had the 3techguys.com show. We don't have it now, but what happened to it? This was syndicated to TV, a TV station's website. My point is, I'm a simple business owner, just like all of you. Well, not just like all of you. You know, some of you are really high-end, amazing people, like our host before, but from other people here who are regular people. But I've been able to succeed and boost my career by some of these simple personal branding things. The other thing I'll say is delegation. Those of you who are trying to build your personal brand and boost your personal brand on your own, it's tough. Am I right? Those of you who have built it's tough. So at least get an executive assistant, get a team of people that can help you. 1, to save you time, and 2, to help you do things that you can't do on your own. So a lot of this we're going to move on as I come to an end and invite Jess to come up. But I would say that, remember, the bottom line here is that I'm encouraging you. You want to not be a sliced pineapple. You don't want to be the sliced pineapple, plain vanilla people. There's enough of that in the world. The SBA, 30 million small businesses, most are regular, boring people. Most of them are. Would you agree? Yep. You can't tell the difference? Thank you. Can you come to each of my events? You can't tell the difference between one person or another. But very few people sizzle. Very few people, when they leave a stage, when you finish shaking their hand, right? When you leave the room, do you remember? You either remember they were a moron and you can't wait to leave, or you don't remember them. But very few do you feel, wow, I feel refreshed. So this presentation, I hope it was a few tips, but it's all about really how we can be the local celebrity entrepreneur and grow our personal brand. My name is Ramon Ray with Smart Hustle and Infusionsoft. I invite my colleague and friend Jess to come up, and thank you for listening in your time.